Welcome to the monk's temple. Find a place where you can be comfortable, where you can release the weight of the day from your shoulders. Perhaps you are in a chair, or lying down, or sitting with your back supported. Wherever you are, let your awareness gently settle into the space around you, and then, let it settle into the space within you. Notice the rhythm of your breath, a gentle tide that has been flowing within you since your very first moment, and will continue until your last. There is nothing you need to do right now but follow that tide in, and follow that tide out. In, and out. And as you follow this natural rhythm, you might become aware of another rhythm, or rather, the absence of one you were expecting. A silence where you hoped for an answer. A stillness where you longed for movement. It's the space after the question has been asked into the universe, and the echo has not yet returned. It's the quiet of your own heart, waiting to hear its next beat of purpose. This space has many names: uncertainty, limbo, the in-between. Our modern world tells us this space is an enemy. It calls it wasted time, lost opportunity, a gap in productivity. It tells us to fear this stillness, to fill it with noise, with action, with anything to prove we are not standing still. But what if the world has it backwards? What if this very stillness, this pregnant pause, this tender ache of not knowing, is not a barren void, but the most fertile ground your soul will ever know? What if the universe, in its infinite compassion, isn't withholding an answer from you, but is instead offering you a sacred invitation, an invitation to stop searching for the path, and instead, to become the sacred ground upon which the path unfolds? Tonight, we will explore this profound invitation. We will not rush. We have the gift of time. We will wander through ancient wisdom and personal stories, through metaphors born of sky and soil, and listen to what the silence is truly meant to teach us. This is not about passive waiting. This is about discovering a deep, vibrant, courageous active receptivity. This is the forgotten art of sacred pause. Let us begin, not by chasing a distant light, but by learning how to see in the gentle dark. In a village nestled between two mountains, there were two potters renowned for their work. The first, Aniccā, was a whirlwind of activity. His wheel spun the fastest, his hands moved with frantic grace, and kiln fires burned day and night. He produced hundreds of pots, bowls, and vases. They were functional, symmetrical, and quickly sold in the market. The second potter, Śūnyatā, worked differently. He would spend days, sometimes weeks, simply sitting with a lump of clay. He would walk the riverbanks to find the right earth. He would mix it with water and let it sit, saying he was listening to the mud. His will turned with a slow, deliberate rhythm. Some days, he wouldn't shape anything at all. He would just sit by the clay, his hands resting on it, his eyes closed. The villagers were intrigued by Śūnyatā's slow pace. One day, a traveler asked him, "Why do you wait so long? Aniccā has sold 100 pots in the time you've made one." Śūnyatā smiled, his hands covered in smooth, cool clay. He pointed to two finished cups, one from each potter. "Take them," he said. The traveler did. Aniccā's cup was perfect, light, and thin. Śūnyatā's cup was heavier, with a slight, comforting irregularity in its curve. "Now, tap them," Śūnyatā instructed. The traveler tapped Aniccā's cup. It made a high, sharp ping. He tapped Śūnyatā's cup. It made a deep, resonant tong sound that seemed to vibrate in the chest. "The first cup," Śūnyatā said softly, "contains the sound of hurry. The second contains the sound of listening. The clay holds memory. If you do not wait for it to settle, to release its own tensions, to speak to you of its nature, the final form will be fragile. It will hold the stress of its making. It will ring with anxiety. But if you wait, if you listen, the clay becomes one with your intention. The waiting isn't idle time. It is the time when the clay and the potter become collaborators. The strength, the resonance, is born in those quiet hours of doing nothing but being present with what is. He looked at the traveler, his eyes calm as a forest pool. You are not so different from this clay. When you rush to shape your life into a form, any form, just to have a shape, you bake your hurry into your very being. The ring of your spirit becomes sharp, brittle. But if you can find the courage to be still, to listen to the substance of your own soul, to collaborate with time itself, what forms will have a strength and a resonance no hurry can ever create. This is the first secret of the sacred pause. Buddhism teaches the principle of yin and yang, the interdependence of action and rest, movement and stillness. They are not opposites, but two essential phases of a single process. The stillness is not the absence of creation. It is the vital, unseen half of creation itself. Your period of uncertainty is your clay-sitting time. The universe is not delaying your pot. It is inviting you to listen to the clay of your life, so that what you eventually shape will not ring with the anxiety of haste, but will resonate with the deep, true tone of your authentic being. If this notion of finding strength in stillness, of seeing your waiting not as empty time but as essential, formative clay, resonates with you, then I invite you to subscribe to the Monk's Temple. By joining our community, you choose to honor these rhythms within yourself. Your subscription is a gentle bell of mindfulness, a reminder to return to this sanctuary of slowness amidst the world's whirl. We would be deeply honored to have you continue this journey of deep listening with us. Let us continue, gently, from where we left our potter and his quiet clay. Having found a comfortable, receptive posture, let your awareness soften once more. Feel the subtle, constant miracle of your breath. In and out. Without your conscious effort, life sustains itself within you. There is a profound trust already alive in your body, a wisdom deeper than thought. Can we extend that same trust to the moments that lie between our plans? Often, in our pauses, we feel a deep discomfort. We label it boredom, anxiety, restlessness. We feel we are adrift in a vast ocean with no land in sight. But what if we are not adrift? What if we are, instead, like a seed that has been gently placed in the dark, rich soil of the unknown? The seed does not panic in the darkness. It does not strive to be a sprout before it has finished being a seed. It rests into the embrace of the earth. It gathers. It transforms in ways invisible to the eye. Its entire being becomes a silent, focused act of trust in a process it cannot see. Buddhist wisdom speaks profoundly to this with the concept of tathata, suchness, or thusness. It is the radical acceptance of things exactly as they are in this very moment, not as we wish them to be. The seed suchness is to be a seed in the dark soil. The sprout suchness is to reach for the light. To fight the suchness of our current moment, to be a seed angrily demanding to be a flower, is the root of our suffering. The sacred pause invites us to practice suchness. To say, right now, it is like this. I am in the soil. I am in the dark. I am in the waiting. And this, too, is a perfect and necessary part of my becoming. I once knew an elderly woman named Aniccā who lived in a small, sun-bleached house at the edge of a desert town. Her great treasure was a night-blooming cereus, a cactus that famously flowers for just one night a year. For the other 364 days, it looked utterly unremarkable, a scruffy, green, tangled mass of stems in a clay pot. Every evening, just after sunset, Aniccā would perform the same ritual. She would carry her plant in its pot to a specific spot on her porch, a spot that caught the first sliver of moonlight. She would sit in her rocking chair beside it, sometimes for an hour, sometimes just for a few minutes. She wouldn't read. She wouldn't knit. She would simply sit with her plant. Neighbors thought it eccentric. Children sometimes teased, "Waiting for your stick to do something, Miss Aniccā." She would just smile. "I'm not waiting for it to bloom," she'd say softly. "I'm keeping it company while it grows." One year, I was visiting on the night the local paper had predicted the bloom. A small, curious crowd had gathered, cameras ready. Aniccā, as always, had placed the plant in its spot. The air was tense with expectation. Minutes ticked by. An hour. The plant remained a scruffy, green, tangled mass. People grew restless, then disappointed, and slowly drifted away, muttering about faulty predictions. Finally, it was just Aniccā and me on the porch in the deepening dark. "They missed it," she said, her voice a whisper in the night air. I looked, confused. The plant hadn't changed. "Missed what?" "They missed the not blooming," she said. "They thought the only point was the flower. But the flower is just the plant's one-night exclamation. The real miracle is the 364 days of silent, steadfast being. That's what I keep company with. That's the truth of the plant." She reached out and touched a gnarled stem with a tenderness one reserves for a sleeping child. We are so afraid of the times when we are not in bloom. We think they are worthless. We abandon ourselves in those times, rushing off to find a flower somewhere else. But this, she patted the pot, this is its life. The quiet, green, gathering life. If you cannot honor the stem, you do not deserve the blossom. As if on cue, in the hush that followed her words, a tiny, pristine, white bud at the tip of one stem began to quiver. Then, with a silent, breathtaking unfurling that seemed to happen both instantly and over a lifetime, it opened. A magnificent, luminous flower, fragrant of vanilla and moonlight, greeted the night. It had bloomed not for the crowd, but in the intimate space of profound acceptance. Aniccā hadn't been waiting for the bloom. She had been honoring the entire cycle, and in doing so, she was present for the magical moment when the cycle turned. Your life has its own night-blooming serious cycles. Long stretches of green, steady, unglamorous growth, the job you endure, the healing that feels incremental, the dream that seems dormant. The world may see only the unremarkable stem and tell you to be a different plant. But the practice of the sacred pause is to become your own Aniccā. To sit with yourself in your not blooming phases with that same tender, attentive company. To honor the silent, steadfast work of your stem and roots. To understand that the blossom, when it comes, will be a breathtaking, but fleeting, expression of all that quiet, gathered strength. The Buddha taught mindfulness of the present moment. Not just the beautiful moments, but the ordinary ones, the difficult ones. To be fully present with your own stem time is the deepest mindfulness. It is how you become a keeper of your own soul's garden, tending not just the spectacular flowers, but the sacred, essential green of your being. In this space, we begin to see that our value is not conditional on our productivity or our visibility. Our worth is inherent in our suchness, in our isness, whether we are seed, stem, or spectacular, fleeting flower. Let's gently ease back into this shared space of reflection. Allow your body to settle a little deeper into its support. Notice the places where you might still be holding tension, perhaps in the jaw, the shoulders, the space between the brows. With your next out breath, imagine you could soften those places, letting the breath carry away any need to hold on. You are safe here, in this moment. Nothing is required of you. Our exploration now turns inward, to a landscape we often fear, the landscape of the unresolved. We are taught to solve, to fix, to conclude. An open loop in our mind feels like an error, a glitch in the system. We want to tie everything up with the neat ribbon of an answer. But what if some of the most important questions in our lives are not meant to be answered quickly? What if their purpose is to remain open, like a window, allowing a draft of mystery to move through the rooms of our soul, preventing the air from becoming stale and taken for granted? In Buddhism, there is profound wisdom around the concept of Śūnyatā, often translated as emptiness or openness. It is not a nihilistic void, but a dynamic, creative space. It is the emptiness of the cup that makes it useful. It is the open sky that allows the bird to fly. It is the pause between musical notes that gives the melody its shape and feeling. Your unresolved question, your unanswered prayer, your uncertain future, this is not a failure of the universe to provide. It is the universe providing you with openness itself. It is gifting you with a sacred hollow, a vessel waiting to be filled not with a quick answer, but with a deeper quality of presence, with a wisdom that can only grow in the dark soil of not knowing. There is a tale from a valley between two great mountains. For generations, the people dreamed of a bridge that would connect their village to the rich forests on the other side, cutting the journey from days to hours. A master bridge builder named Aniccā was commissioned. He worked for years, his team crafting a beautiful stone arch from one cliff face, reaching out over the dizzying gorge. But when the arch reached its midpoint, Aniccā stopped. He ordered the workers to down tools and leave the bridge as it was, a magnificent, half-finished arc reaching out into empty space. The village elders were furious. "You have taken our gold and left us with a useless stone road to nowhere," they cried. Aniccā remained calm. "The bridge is not unfinished," he said. "It is waiting." "Waiting for what?" they demanded. "For the other side to be ready," he replied. He explained that in his survey, he had discovered the cliff on the far side was fragile, weakened by hidden springs. To build from that side now would cause a catastrophic collapse. But he had also observed a particular, hardy moss and a network of strong, slow-growing roots from ancient trees that were gradually knitting the rock face back together. It was a natural process of healing and consolidation. "The bridge from our side is complete and strong," Aniccā said. "It is a statement of our intention, our readiness. Now, we must wait for the far shore to find its own strength. To build now would be to destroy the very connection we seek. The waiting is not idleness. It is the most crucial phase of construction, the phase of allowing the foundation to solidify." For years, the half-bridge stood. It became a strange local landmark. Children would play on its sturdy, finished portion. Lovers would walk to its end at sunset, looking out at the vast, empty space, dreaming of the other side. Philosophers would sit there, contemplating the gap. They began to see things they never had before, the way the light changed in the gorge throughout the day, the specific birds that nested in the cliffs, the sound of the wind singing through the canyon. The very absence of the bridge's completion had given them a new relationship with the space between. Then, after 7 years, Kaito returned. He nodded, examined the far cliff, and without a word, his crew began work. Within a year, the bridge was joined, seamless and stronger than anyone had imagined. At the dedication, an elder who had been most angry spoke. "We thought you built only half a bridge. But we were wrong. You built a full lesson. You taught us that the connection is not just the stone, but also the respect for the timing of things. You taught us to see the beauty in the gap itself. Your life may have such a half-bridge right now. A career path that reaches into the void. A hope for a relationship that has no counterpart yet. A dream that feels suspended in midair. The ego, like the impatient villagers, screams that it is a failure, a useless project. But the wiser part of you, the bridge builder within, understands the necessity of the pause. It knows that some foundations within you or in the circumstances of your life need time to consolidate, to heal, to grow strong enough to support the weight of the connection you desire. The sacred pause is the practice of being the finished half of the bridge. It is solidifying your intention, tending to your own strength, and then, waiting with respectful awareness. It is learning to appreciate the view from the edge of the unfinished span. It is finding that the gap itself is not empty. It is full of sky, full of potential, full of a clarifying perspective you could never have gained if the bridge were already complete. The Buddha taught right view, the first step on the path. Sometimes, right view is not about seeing the destination clearly, but about seeing the nature of the gap with acceptance and patience. The bridge will be completed. But the wisdom you gain from honoring the waiting time will be the strongest stone in its arch. Let's return together to this quiet harbor of attention. With each breath in, imagine drawing in a sense of peace from the space around you. With each breath out, imagine releasing any lingering strands of resistance, any subtle battles you are fighting against the current of this moment. You are not here to fight reality. You are here to befriend it, to meet it exactly as it is. This brings us to a powerful, often misunderstood companion on our journey, surrender. We confuse it with defeat, with giving up, with weakness. We believe to surrender is to admit that we have lost. But what if true surrender is not a collapse, but the ultimate act of strength? What if it is not about relinquishing your desire, but about relinquishing your exhausting, white-knuckle grip on the how and the when? In the Buddhist tradition, the concept of Upekkhā, or equanimity, points toward this profound release. Equanimity is not indifference. It is a spacious, balanced heart that can hold joy and sorrow, gain and loss, praise and blame, without being knocked over. It is the mental and emotional state of the deep ocean, which remains undisturbed by the churning waves on its surface. Surrender, in its sacred form, is the movement toward equanimity. It is the conscious decision to stop trying to control the waves and instead, to learn the nature of the ocean you are. You stop fighting the current and begin to understand its direction. In a city known for its exquisite silk, there lived a weaver named Lihua, whose tapestries were said to capture the very movement of the wind and water. Her secret was not just skill, but her relationship with the thread. One afternoon, an apprentice, frantic and near tears, brought her loom to Lihua. The pattern, a complex scene of cranes in flight, had become a catastrophic snarl. One misthread had created a cascading knot, a dense, ugly blot in the center of the emerging sky. "I've tried everything," the apprentice wailed. "I've pulled, I've picked, I've tried to force it back into place. Now it's worse than ever. The whole piece is ruined." Lihua nodded calmly. "You have tried everything except the one thing that works," she said. "Come." She did not lead the apprentice back to the loom. Instead, she led her to the garden, to a stone bench beneath a willow tree. "Sit," she instructed. "We will wait." "Wait? But the knot. The tapestry." "The tapestry is not going anywhere," Lihua said. "But your mind is. It is a storm of pulling and forcing. You cannot solve a delicate problem with violent hands. First, the storm must settle." For what felt like an eternity to the apprentice, they sat. Lihua pointed out the dance of light through the willow leaves. She commented on the scent of damp earth after a morning rain. Slowly, the apprentice's frantic breathing slowed. The panic in her chest began to soften from a sharp rock into a dull ache. Only when Lihua saw the girl's shoulders truly relax did she speak again. "A knot," she said softly, "is not an enemy. It is a message. It tells you that the thread has encountered a resistance it could not flow past. Pulling harder only tightens the message into a scream. Your job is not to defeat the knot. Your job is to listen to it. To understand why it formed. This requires a mind that is still, and hands that are not at war with the thread." They returned to the loom. Lihua's fingers, now moving with a slow, reverent curiosity, explored the snarl. She did not pull. She probed. She traced a single thread's path with her eyes. She loosened the tension on the loom itself. After minutes of this silent investigation, she found it, the single loop where the thread had skipped a guide and crossed back on itself. With a gentle nudge, not a pull, she released the loop. The entire knot, as if exhaling in relief, began to unravel. Within moments, the threads fell back into their proper, flowing order. "There," Lihua said. "The knot was not the problem. Your war with the knot was the problem. You must surrender your need for it to be gone, before you can see how to release it. The thread knows its way. You must learn to get out of its way. Your life, in its waiting periods, often presents you with such knots. A relationship tension that seems irreparable. A financial snarl. A health concern that ties your stomach in anxiety. Our instinct is the apprentice's instinct, to pull, to force, to fix with frantic, desperate energy. We declare war on the knot. But the sacred pause is the practice of becoming Lihua. It is walking away from the loom. It is sitting under the willow tree and letting the storm of your panic settle. Surrender is not accepting that the knot is permanent. It is accepting that you cannot solve it with the mind that created the panic around it. It is loosening the tension you are applying to the entire situation. It is bringing a curious, gentle attention to the tangle, looking for the single loop of understanding, the one point of release. Often, the knot itself holds the secret to its undoing, if only we stop screaming at it. The Buddha taught the middle way between the extremes of self-indulgence and self-mortification. The war with our knots is a form of self-mortification. Sacred surrender is the middle way, a compassionate, attentive, nonviolent engagement with our difficulties. You are not giving up. You are changing your strategy from force to wisdom, from resistance to profound, intelligent listening. Let's return together to this quiet harbor of attention. With each breath in, imagine drawing in a sense of peace from the space around you. With each breath out, imagine releasing any lingering strands of resistance, any subtle battles you are fighting against the current of this moment. You are not here to fight reality. You are here to befriend it, to meet it exactly as it is. This brings us to a powerful, often misunderstood companion on our journey, surrender. We confuse it with defeat, with giving up, with weakness. We believe to surrender is to admit that we have lost. But what if true surrender is not a collapse, but the ultimate act of strength? What if it is not about relinquishing your desire, but about relinquishing your exhausting, white-knuckle grip on the how and the when? In the Buddhist tradition, the concept of Upekkhā, or equanimity, points toward this profound release. Equanimity is not indifference. It is a spacious, balanced heart that can hold joy and sorrow, gain and loss, praise and blame, without being knocked over. It is the mental and emotional state of the deep ocean, which remains undisturbed by the churning waves on its surface. Surrender, in its sacred form, is the movement toward equanimity. It is the conscious decision to stop trying to control the waves and instead, to learn the nature of the ocean you are. You stop fighting the current and begin to understand its direction. In a city known for its exquisite silk, there lived a weaver named Aniccā, whose tapestries were said to capture the very movement of the wind and water. Her secret was not just skill, but her relationship with the thread. One afternoon, an apprentice, frantic and near tears, brought her loom to Aniccā. The pattern, a complex scene of cranes in flight, had become a catastrophic snarl. One misthread had created a cascading knot, a dense, ugly blot in the center of the emerging sky. "I've tried everything," the apprentice wailed. "I've pulled, I've picked, I've tried to force it back into place. Now it's worse than ever. The whole piece is ruined." Aniccā nodded calmly. "You have tried everything except the one thing that works," she said. "Come." She did not lead the apprentice back to the loom. Instead, she led her to the garden, to a stone bench beneath a willow tree. "Sit," she instructed. "We will wait." Wait? But the knot. The tapestry. "The tapestry is not going anywhere," Aniccā said. "But your mind is. It is a storm of pulling and forcing. You cannot solve a delicate problem with violent hands. First, the storm must settle." For what felt like an eternity to the apprentice, they sat. Aniccā pointed out the dance of light through the willow leaves. She commented on the scent of damp earth after a morning rain. Slowly, the apprentice's frantic breathing slowed. The panic in her chest began to soften from a sharp rock into a dull ache. Only when Aniccā saw the girl's shoulders truly relax did she speak again. "A knot," she said softly, "is not an enemy. It is a message. It tells you that the thread has encountered a resistance it could not flow past. Pulling harder only tightens the message into a scream. Your job is not to defeat the knot. Your job is to listen to it. To understand why it formed. This requires a mind that is still, and hands that are not at war with the thread." They returned to the loom. Aniccā's fingers, now moving with a slow, reverent curiosity, explored the snarl. She did not pull. She probed. She traced a single thread's path with her eyes. She loosened the tension on the loom itself. After minutes of this silent investigation, she found it, the single loop where the thread had skipped a guide and crossed back on itself. With a gentle nudge, not a pull, she released the loop. The entire knot, as if exhaling in relief, began to unravel. Within moments, the threads fell back into their proper, flowing order. There, Lihua said. The knot was not the problem. Your war with the knot was the problem. You must surrender your need for it to be gone, before you can see how to release it. The thread knows its way. You must learn to get out of its way. Your life, in its waiting periods, often presents you with such knots. A relationship tension that seems irreparable. A financial snarl. A health concern that ties your stomach in anxiety. Our instinct is the apprentice's instinct, to pull, to force, to fix with frantic, desperate energy. We declare war on the knot. But the sacred pause is the practice of becoming Lihua. It is walking away from the loom. It is sitting under the willow tree and letting the storm of your panic settle. Surrender is not accepting that the knot is permanent. It is accepting that you cannot solve it with the mind that created the panic around it. It is loosening the tension you are applying to the entire situation. It is bringing a curious, gentle attention to the tangle, looking for the single loop of understanding, the one point of release. Often, the knot itself holds the secret to its undoing, if only we stop screaming at it. The Buddha taught the middle way between the extremes of self-indulgence and self-mortification. The war with our knots is a form of self-mortification. Sacred surrender is the middle way, a compassionate, attentive, non-violent engagement with our difficulties. You are not giving up. You are changing your strategy from force to wisdom, from resistance to profound, intelligent listening. As we settle in once more, bring your awareness to the sounds around you. Don't label them or push them away. Simply let them be, as if they are notes in a soft, ambient piece of music playing in the background of your awareness. The distant hum of life, the closer rhythm of your own breath. Let the sounds come, and let them go. There is no need to hold on to any of them. This practice of letting sensory experiences flow without grasp or aversion leads us to a central pillar of the path, the understanding of Aniccā, impermanence. We know, intellectually, that all things change. But in our hearts, we often live as if the pleasant moments should be permanent and the difficult ones are cruel mistakes. Our waiting, our uncertainty, is a direct, intimate encounter with impermanence. The old chapter has ended. The new one has not begun. We are suspended in the turning of the page. And we desperately want to know what the next chapter says. But what if the value lies not in the next chapter's plot, but in the blank page itself? The blank page holds every possibility. It is pure potential. To rush to scribble the first idea that comes is to forfeit that vast potential for the security of a single sentence. The sacred pause is the courage to hold the blank page, to tolerate its emptiness, to respect its silence, knowing that the right words will emerge when the writer, your deepest self, is truly ready to write them. Centuries ago, in the age of great voyages, there was a cartographer named Silas whose maps were prized for their startling accuracy. His secret was not that he traveled more than others, but that he traveled differently. While other mapmakers would fill their parchments with every landmark, real or imagined, Silas practiced a disciplined art of leaving spaces blank. When a ship returned from exploring a new coastline, other cartographers would crowd the sailors, pressing for details to fill their maps. Silas would listen quietly, then ask a peculiar question: "What did you not see?" He was interested in the edges of their knowledge. He would then mark the known coast with exquisite care, and beyond it, where the sea faded into mystery, he would not draw sea monsters or guess at continents. He would write, in beautiful, small script, terra incognita, unknown land. Or simply, here be possibilities. A young, impatient apprentice once challenged him. "Master, our patrons pay for knowledge. They want to see the world filled in. These blank spaces look like ignorance." Silas placed a fresh parchment before the boy. "Draw me the coast of your future life," he said. The boy eagerly drew a detailed map, a path from apprenticeship to master, a house, a family, specific achievements dotting the landscape like cities. Silas looked at it, then took a damp cloth and gently blurred everything beyond the next 6 months. The detailed drawing smudged into vague, open spaces. "But my future," the boy cried, "is not yours to draw with such arrogant ink," Silas said softly. "You have drawn a fantasy, not a map. A map honors what is known. It has the humility to admit what is not. These blank spaces," he said, pointing to the smudged, open areas of the boy's own life, "are not failures. They are the most honest part of the document. They are where life will surprise you. To fill them with your guesses is to be blind to the real territory when you finally arrive." He taught his apprentice that a true map is a companion for a journey, not a prison for it. The terra incognita on the page was an invitation to curiosity, to preparedness, to wonder. It kept the navigator alert and humble. A map filled with assumptions made the traveler arrogant and, when reality inevitably differed from the guesswork, utterly lost. Your life right now contains such terra incognita. The blank space on your career map, the uncharted territory of a new relationship status, the fog-shrouded coastline of your health or purpose. The ego, like the impatient apprentice, wants to fill it in immediately with assumptions, plans, and fears. It wants a detailed map to alleviate its anxiety. But the sacred pause is the practice of being Silas. It is the courage to draw with firm, clear lines only what you truly know: "I am here. I am breathing. This is what I feel now." And for the rest, to inscribe, not with anxiety, but with a quiet reverence, "Here be possibilities." The Buddha taught that clinging to views and opinions is a fetter that binds us. Filling in our blank spaces with rigid plans and expectations is a form of clinging. It limits life to the boundaries of our own imagination. Sacred waiting is the practice of relaxing that cling. It is learning to navigate by the stars of your core values: compassion, integrity, presence, rather than by a predetermined, and often incorrect, map. The unknown is not your enemy. It is the frontier of your becoming. Honor it with your patience, and it will reveal to you continents of your own soul you never dreamed existed. Let us return, now, to the anchor of our breath. In this very moment, you are neither in the past you remember nor the future you imagine. You are in the alive, vibrating reality of now. Feel the air as it enters your nostrils, cool and subtle. Feel the slight pause at the top of the breath, a moment of pure balance. Feel the warmer air as it leaves your body, carrying with it what you no longer need. This cycle is your constant homecoming. Within this cycle, we often encounter a subtle, pervasive sense of lack during our waiting. It feels as if something is missing, that life is on hold until a particular piece falls into place. We are like a beautiful mosaic that believes it cannot be a complete picture without one final, specific tile. We fixate on the shape and color of that missing piece, convinced our wholeness depends on it. But what if the mosaic is already whole? What if the so-called missing piece is not an absence, but a space intentionally left open, a window to the light behind the artwork? Buddhist philosophy gently points us toward the understanding of interdependence, or pratitya samutpada. Nothing exists in isolation. Every part of the mosaic is defined by its relationship to the empty spaces around it. The gap is not separate from the art, it is an essential, defining element of it. The light that shines through the gap is part of the mosaic's beauty. Your feeling of lack, of something missing, may not be a sign of incompleteness, but an invitation to perceive a different kind of wholeness, a wholeness that includes space, potential, and the light of awareness that can only enter through an opening. In a quiet temple known for its pottery, there was a master who had a peculiar final test for her students. She would present them with a beautiful, glazed vase she had made herself. Then, with a calm and deliberate motion, she would drop it onto the stone floor. The vase would shatter into a dozen pieces. Now, she would say, "Make it whole again." The students would scramble, collecting the shards, trying desperately to glue them back together, to restore the vase to its original, unblemished form. They would work for hours, but the cracks would always show, the seams were weak, and the vase could never hold water again. They would present their fragile, reassembled work with disappointment. The master would take it, examine it, and place it on a high shelf. "You have failed," she would say softly. "You tried to erase the break. But a break cannot be erased. It can only be transformed." One student, named Aniccā, approached the test differently. After the vase shattered, she sat quietly among the pieces for a long time. She did not see broken parts of a whole. She saw new, individual objects with their own sharp beauty. Instead of reassembling the vase, she gathered the shards, along with some gold lacquer resin from the temple supplies. For days, she worked not to hide the breaks, but to highlight them. She fitted the pieces together, but instead of using invisible glue, she used the vibrant gold resin to join the edges, making the cracks bold, luminous, and intentional. She did not recreate the original vase. She created something new, a vessel where the cracks became rivers of gold flowing across its surface. It was stunningly beautiful in a way the original, perfect, vase never was. And because of the strength of the resin, it could hold water once more. When she presented it, the master was silent for a full minute. Then a tear traced a path down her weathered cheek. "You have understood," she said. "The world breaks everyone. That is certain. But afterward, some are stronger at the broken places. You have not just repaired, you have revealed. The gold is the light of your understanding filling the gaps. The waiting you will do in life, after loss, after failure, in uncertainty, is not time spent missing the old vase. It is the time you are given to choose what you will fill the cracks with. Will it be the bitter glue of regret, trying to pretend it never happened? Or will it be the gold of wisdom, making the breaks part of a new, more resilient design? Your life contains such breaks. Plans that have shattered. Relationships that have fractured. A sense of self that has come apart. The waiting period that follows is your sacred workspace. It is the time between the shattering and the new creation. The sacred pause is the practice of being Aniccā. It is sitting quietly with the pieces, not in despair, but with a curious reverence. It is understanding that the goal is not to go backward to an illusion of wholeness, but to move forward toward a different wholeness, one that integrates the breakage into its design. The gold resin is your conscious attention, your compassion, the wisdom gleaned from the breaking itself. The Buddha taught that suffering arises from craving and aversion. Craving the unbroken vase, averring the broken pieces, this is the suffering. The end of suffering comes with the cessation of that craving. This does not mean you desired the vase to break, but that you cease craving for reality to be other than it is. You accept the broken pieces. And from that profound acceptance, you discover the creative power to fill the cracks not with lack, but with a luminous, transformative understanding. Your waiting becomes an alchemical process, turning the lead of disappointment into the gold of a more beautiful, durable, and authentic you. Let us settle again into the sanctuary of the present. Notice the feeling of your body against the chair or the floor, the simple, steadfast support that is always there, holding you up. You are being held, right now, by something greater than yourself. Can you soften into that support, allowing it to take just a little more of your weight? In our exploration of the sacred pause, we now come to a powerful, inner landmark, the critic. In the silence of waiting, this voice often grows loud. It narrates our inactivity, compares our progress, and whispers of insufficiency. It speaks of timelines and benchmarks, of everyone else who seems to be moving while we are still. This voice can turn a quiet period into a tortuous courtroom. But what if this critic is not a truth teller, but a misguided guard? A guard who mistakes stillness for danger, and whose frantic alarms are meant to protect us, but only succeed in disturbing our peace. Buddhism offers a profound framework for understanding this through the concept of the skandhas, or aggregates that come together to form our sense of a solid self. One of these is sana, perception. Our critic is often a distortion of perception, a mental formation that mistakes its own repetitive commentary for reality. We have the power to reperceive. To see the critic not as our own voice, but as a passing weather pattern in the mind. Loud, perhaps, but transient, and not the fundamental nature of the sky. On a remote, storm-racked island, there was a lighthouse keeper named Elias. His sole duty was to maintain the light, a beacon that guided ships through a treacherous channel. He kept a meticulous logbook. Every day, he would note the weather, the state of the light, the ships he saw pass safely. One winter, a savage storm hit, lasting for 2 weeks. The waves were so high they crashed over the lantern room windows. The wind screamed so loudly Elias could not hear his own thoughts. He could not make his daily observations. For 14 days, the logbook entries were blank. When the storm finally passed, Elias opened the logbook to the empty pages. A deep sense of failure washed over him. The critic in his mind awoke. You have failed in your duty. 2 weeks with no record. What if something crucial happened and you didn't note it? Your log is incomplete. You are negligent. He stared at the blank pages with a heavy heart. Then, he looked up, out the window. The sea was calming to a gentle swell. The first ship in weeks was approaching the channel, its sails full of a steady wind. It navigated the once treacherous water with ease, guided by his light, which had burned faithfully through the entire storm. In that moment, Elias understood. He picked up his pen. On the first blank page, he did not write an apology or a guess about the weather. He wrote, in large, clear letters. For 14 days, the storm raged. I could not see the sea, nor the ships. I could not tend to anything but the flame. The light, however, never went out. It is still burning now. A ship passes safely below. Some logs record activity. This log records faithfulness. He closed the book. The critic fell silent. The blank pages were no longer a record of failure, but a testament to what truly mattered. Amidst chaos so great it obliterated all normal markers of time and duty, the essential task had been upheld. The silence in the log was not emptiness, it was the roar of the storm, translated into the quiet language of endurance. Your mind may hold such blank pages, days, weeks, or seasons where you feel you have nothing to show, no progress to log. The critic reads those pages and declares you negligent, off course, failing. The sacred pause is the practice of becoming Elias after the storm. It is looking up from the blank logbook of your perceived productivity and asking, what was the essential flame I was tending, even in the chaos? Perhaps it was simply the flame of your own spirit. Perhaps it was the flame of patience, or the flame of showing up for a loved one, or the flame of not giving up when everything in you wanted to. Your inner light did not go out. That is the only entry that ultimately matters. The Buddha taught right livelihood, which at its heart is about ethical, purposeful action. But purpose is not always about visible output. Sometimes, right livelihood is the inner work of maintaining your light in the storm, so that when the weather clears, you can still be a guide, for yourself, and for others. Do not let the critic's narrative of blank pages define you. Write your own entry. Name the storm you endured. Honor the flame you kept alive. See the ship of your own spirit, still sailing, guided by that persistent, inner light. The waiting was not an absence of duty. It was the most profound duty of all, to keep the light burning when you could see nothing else. Let us return, gently, to the soft focus of the present. Bring to mind a small, simple object nearby, a cup, a pen, a fold in the fabric of your clothing. Look at it, or imagine it, with a fresh curiosity, as if you have never seen such a thing before. Notice its color, its texture, its form. For this moment, let this ordinary object be the entire universe. This is the practice of deep, unhurried attention. Our culture venerates the arrow, straight, fast, unerring, hitting its target with decisive force. We are taught to be human arrows, focused, purposeful, direct. But what of the bow? The bow does not travel. It stays. It bends. It holds tremendous tension, not to move itself, but to provide the potential energy for release. In our waiting, we feel like failed arrows, stuck in the quiver. But what if we are not arrows at all in this season? What if we are the bow? Our value is not in flight, but in our capacity to bend, to store energy, to provide the foundational tension from which a true and accurate release can eventually come. This understanding is reflected in the Buddhist principle of virya, often translated as energy, effort, or perseverance. But virya is not just frantic doing. It is the sustained, focused energy of the bow being drawn, a conscious, gathering of strength. It is the effort of maintaining your integrity under pressure, of holding your form while being bent by circumstance. The sacred pause is the cultivation of virya as bow energy, steady, resilient, gathering potential, trusting that the release will come in its perfect moment. In a city of precise schedules, there lived an old clockmaker named Felix. His shop was a cave of ticking, a symphony of ordered time. He was known for his ability to repair the most delicate and complex timepieces. One day, a man rushed in, holding a precious, antique pocket watch that had belonged to his grandfather. "It stopped," he cried. "Everything depends on this watch. You must fix it immediately." Felix took the watch, opened the case, and peered inside with his loupe. After a moment, he looked up. "I cannot fix this today," he said calmly. "But why?" "I'll pay anything." "The mainspring," Felix explained, "is overwound. It is held in a state of such extreme tension that it has frozen. If I touch it now, it may snap. The repair is not to add more force, but to release the existing force with infinite care. This requires waiting." Waiting? For what? "For the spring to forget," Felix said. "It must, very slowly, lose the memory of being wound too tight. I will place it in a special, padded case. Each day, I will check it. I will not rush it. When the spring has relaxed just enough, when it has released its own panic, then, and only then, can I gently guide it back to its proper tension. A spring that has forgotten how to be flexible must be reminded with patience, not forced with tools." The man, though anxious, agreed. Felix placed the watch in a drawer lined with felt. He did nothing to it for a week. He simply let it sit in the quiet dark. After 7 days, he took it out, and with the lightest of touches, began to work. Within an hour, the tick returned, a soft, steady, healthy sound. The watch was healed, not by intervention, but by the medicine of purposeful, respectful waiting. Felix handed it back. "Remember," he said. "A mechanism, like a life, cannot function from a place of overwound tension. The energy must flow. When you feel frozen, stuck, when everything has stopped, it is often not because you lack power, but because you are wound too tight with fear, with urgency, with forced effort. The healing is not to wind yourself more. It is to have the courage to stop. To place yourself in the felt-lined drawer of your own compassion, and wait. Wait for the inner spring to forget the panic, to release the memory of strain. Then, your natural, healthy rhythm can resume. You may feel like that overwound spring right now. Frozen by anxiety, paralyzed by the pressure of, what's next, so tense with the need to make something happen that you have locked yourself in place. The sacred pause is the practice of being Felix. It is the wisdom to diagnose overwinding, and the courage to prescribe stillness. It is placing your frantic spirit in the felt-lined drawer of acceptance. You are not doing nothing. You are engaged in the most delicate repair possible. allowing your own overwhelmed mechanism to unwind, to relax, to forget the memory of strain. The Buddha taught the middle way between the extremes of sensual indulgence and ascetic self-mortification. Overwinding our springs with relentless striving is a modern form of asceticism, a self-inflicted strain we mistakenly think is noble. The sacred pause is the middle way. It is the compassionate cessation of that self-inflicted tension. It is allowing the natural, elastic rhythm of your being to return. You are not a machine meant to run at breaking tension. You are a living being, designed for rhythm, for pulse, for the gentle, powerful, recurring cycle of gathering and release. Trust the unwinding. The true tick of your purpose will return. Welcome back to this gentle unfolding. Let your awareness rest lightly on the sensation of breathing, but this time, notice the tiny pause after the outbreath. That silent, still point before the next inhale begins of its own accord. That is a place of pure potential. It is a miniature version of the sacred pause we are exploring, a moment of complete surrender to the cycle, trusting that the next breath will come. In this exploration, we arrive at the heart's deepest question in times of waiting: what is my purpose right now? When we cannot see the grand arc of our life's work, we feel purposeless. We equate purpose with visible, outward achievement. But what if purpose is not a destination, but a quality of attention? What if your purpose in this very moment is not to accomplish something in the world, but to appreciate the world? Not to build a legacy, but to be fully, tenderly alive to the legacy of this single, irreplaceable breath. Buddhism brings us to the concept of Dharma, which has many meanings. One of them is simply, the way things are, the fundamental law and truth of existence. Another is our personal path of righteous living. But at the intersection of these is a beautiful truth: to align with the Dharma of this moment, to be fully present with, the way things are, right now, is the most profound expression of your personal path. Your purpose, in the pause, is to practice profound intimacy with the present reality, however simple or uncertain it may be. This is not a small task. It is the root of all wisdom and compassion. In a city that was constantly tearing down the old to build the new, there lived a woman named Cora who had a most unusual vocation. She was an archivist, but not of documents or artifacts. She archived sounds. With sensitive microphones and recorders, she captured the auditory soul of places about to be lost. The specific creak of a wooden bridge scheduled for demolition, the particular echo in a train station hall before renovation, the chorus of specific birds in a woodland slated for development. People often asked her, "What is the purpose? You can't stop the progress. The bridge will still be gone." Cora would smile and say, "I am not trying to stop time. I am practicing a different kind of listening. My purpose is not to preserve the thing, but to honor its essence. To give it my complete attention while it is here." In that act of deep listening, something is saved that otherwise would be lost forever. Her greatest project was a century-old public bathhouse, a beautiful, tiled cavern of echoes, which was to be closed and filled in. For its final week, Cora went every day. She didn't just record the grand sounds of water and voices. She recorded the drip from a specific leaky tap in the corner. The slap of wet feet on a particular worn step. The sigh of the steam room door. She sat for hours, listening with her whole being. On the last day, As workers began to drain the pools, the foreman found her sitting quietly, her recorder off, just listening to the hollow, dripping silence. "Getting your last tapes?" he asked. "No," she said softly. "I am done recording. Now I am just saying goodbye." "But what's the purpose of that?" he asked, puzzled. "You can't save it." Cora looked around the vast, emptying room. "When you love something," she said, "you don't just love it for what it gives you. You love it for its own being. My purpose this week was not to produce an archive. It was to be a witness. To love this place with my attention as it made its transition. That love is not lost. It becomes part of me, and in a way, part of the silence that will replace it. A silence that is now respectful, because it was listened to. Your life, in its waiting phase, may feel like that bathhouse in its final week. The familiar waters of an old identity are draining away. The echoes are fading. It can feel purposeless, like you are just sitting in a space that is being dismantled. But the sacred pause invites you to take up Cora's work. To become the archivist of this moment. Your purpose right now is not to rebuild or rush to the next construction site. Your purpose is the profound spiritual practice of deep listening. To listen to the unique sounds of your own heart in this transition. To honor the essence of this experience with your full attention. What does this, in-between, feel like in your body? What subtle emotions are moving through you, like faint echoes? What is being released, like water down a drain? Your loving, non-judgmental attention is the archive. It saves the essence of this transformation. This act of witnessing is not passive. It is an active, courageous engagement with reality. It is how you love yourself through change. The Buddha taught Satipana, the foundations of mindfulness, mindfulness of body, feelings, mind, and phenomena. This is the practice of the archivist. It is recording the present experience without trying to edit it. Your purpose in the pause is to be a mindful archivist of your own transition. In doing so, you do not stop time, but you transform your relationship with it. You save what is most important, your conscious, loving presence. That presence will become the foundation for whatever is built next. A foundation laid with attention is always strong. And so we arrive, gently, at the final part of our shared journey. Let us settle in a last time. Feel the weight of your body, completely surrendered to gravity. Notice the air on your skin. Hear the soft, internal silence that exists beneath any sound. You have traveled far in stillness. Now, we come to the simplest, and perhaps most profound, understanding of all. We began by reframing waiting from a barren emptiness into a sacred, fertile space. We have wandered through metaphors of clay and clouds, bridges and knots, maps and broken vases, springs and archives. We have seen the waiting not as passive, but as a deep, participatory act of trust, of listening, of becoming. But all of this leads to one, final, quiet point: the peace you seek is not at the end of the waiting. It is discovered in the very texture of the waiting itself. We imagine peace as a destination, a state we will attain when conditions are perfect. When the answer comes, the job is secured, the heart is healed. We project it into a future moment, making our present one a means to an end. Buddhism directly illuminates this error. The second noble truth teaches that the origin of suffering is ta, thirst, craving, this very habit of leaning forward into the next moment, rejecting the present one as insufficient. Peace is not a future condition. It is the natural state of a mind that has ceased its frantic leaning. It is the feeling of the bow when it is not being drawn, the spring when it is at its natural tension, the clay when it is simply being held. It is the inherent stillness underneath your story. The sacred art of waiting, then, is ultimately the art of coming home. It is the gradual, courageous process of withdrawing your hope from the unpredictable future and planting it, instead, in the reliable, eternal present. It is realizing that the doorway you have been seeking is not ahead of you. You have been standing in its frame all along. There was once a gardener named Leo who was obsessed with spring. He loved the explosion of blossoms, the green vigor, the sense of beginning. He would spend autumn and winter in a state of longing, anxiously tracking the days until the equinox. His winter garden was neglected, a place of gray sticks and frozen earth he simply endured. One particularly harsh winter, a deep freeze killed his most prized rose bushes, the ones that always gave the first blooms. Leo was devastated. He sat on his frost-rimed bench, feeling a profound emptiness. The spring he lived for had been ruined before it even began. As he sat there in his despair, his eyes, no longer searching for buds, began to truly see the winter garden. He noticed the intricate, black lacework of bare branches against the steel-gray sky. He saw the geometric beauty of frost crystals on a forgotten trowel. He heard the pure, clean silence, broken only by the occasional crunch of a bird in the bare hedge. He felt the crisp, clarifying air in his lungs. For the first time, he was present in winter. A strange thing happened. A deep, quiet feeling began to seep into him, unrelated to the fate of his roses. It was a feeling of stark beauty, of resilience, of a world resting. It was peace. Not the excited, blossoming joy of spring, but a profound, serene acceptance. He realized he had spent his life chasing the season of growth, while ignoring the seasons of rest, clarity, and essential stillness. He had been missing 2/3 of his own life. Leo stood up, not with a plan to fix his garden, but with a new intention. He would tend to the winter. He pruned the branches with care, appreciating their structure. He watched the patterns of snowfall. He learned the names of the birds that stayed. He found that by being fully present in the winter, his anxiety for spring simply dissolved. When spring did finally arrive, it was not a frantic relief, but a gentle, welcome guest. And his garden, tended with year-round presence, was more vibrant than ever. You, in your season of waiting, may feel like Leo in his winter, enduring a bleak landscape until the desired season of spring arrives. But the sacred pause is the invitation to stop chasing spring. It is the radical decision to be fully present in the winter of your circumstances. To tend to what is here, now. To find the stark beauty in the clarity of not having the answers. To appreciate the clean, strong architecture of your spirit that is only visible when the leaves of distraction have fallen. The Buddha's path culminates in Nibbana, the extinguishing of the fires of craving, aversion, and delusion. This is not a distant paradise. It is a state of peace available in this life, in this moment, when you stop the war with what is. Your waiting is the perfect ground to practice this. Each time you meet your impatience with a breath, each time you meet your fear with a gentle hand on your heart, each time you meet uncertainty with a curious, let's see, you are not just waiting for peace. You are practicing it. You are embodying it. So, dear friend, as our time together in the monk's temple draws to a close, carry this with you. The next time you find yourself in the ache of the in-between, remember the potter's clay, the night blooming Sirius, the half-bridge, the golden cracks. Remember the unwinding spring and the archivist's deep listening. You are not stuck. You are in a sacred process. Place a hand on your heart. Feel the steady, patient drumbeat of your being. This rhythm has carried you through every season of your life. It will not fail you now. You can whisper to yourself, I am here. This moment is my practice. I trust the process. In this space, I am becoming. You are not lost between stories. You are the sacred ground where the next story is being written, word by patient word, breath by conscious breath. Thank you for sharing this profound journey of stillness. If this sanctuary of slowness has been a refuge for your spirit, consider subscribing to the Monk's Temple. It is a way to nurture this community and remind yourself to return to this pace of being. Share this with anyone who needs to remember the wisdom of the pause. May you move through your days with the patience of a gardener who loves every season. May you wait with grace, breathe with ease, and trust, deep in your bones, that you are always, already, home. Go in peace.